Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will explain you what is ledger. So in what we understand by the ledger in SAP financial accounting, a ledger is like a book of accounts where transactions are recorded. In SAP S4 HANA we can understand what is ledger differences and now in SAP S4 HANA extension ledger is introduced. So, SAP allows multiple ledgers so that a company can meet different reporting requirements. For example, one of the local statutory reporting and another the international accounting standard. So, in that, in the multiple ledgers, we can understand by the leading ledger, which is for the group reporting, and another ledger we are introducing, which is non-leading ledger for the international accounting standards. We are using that. SAP S for HANA introduced the universal journal, meaning all ledger store data in one single table, AC docket. Okay, so in SAP S for HANA, the table is introduced AC docket where we can see all the ledger transactions. But we can see the transactions which is related to your leading ledger and non-leading ledger. So now we can understand what is leading ledger. The definition of the leading ledger is the leading ledger is the primary ledger in SAP. Okay, so it's a primary ledger. When we create a company in SAP, it is automatically created by the SAP. Okay, it is 0L by default in every system, so it is by default 0L. Okay, all company codes are automatically assigned to the leading ledger. So whatever we are creating any company code, it is assigned with our leading ledger. What is the purpose of the leading ledger? Used for consolidated financial report across the company. So we can understand, we can get the consolidated financial reporting across the company. Okay, and so if it is related to India, USA, whatever it will be introduced by the 0L, and we can get a group reporting by this. Always based on the main accounting principle. It is always based on the main accounting principle, usually IFRS or local GAAP, depending on the business requirement. So whatever we are assigned our accounting principle with our ledgers, with our leading ledger, that will be the main accounting principle of that company. Okay, now we go to our next slide to understand what it is. Now we understand what are the key features of it. Mandatory in every SAP system, which I have told you, when we create our company, it is automatically generated by the SAP system, so it is mandatory. So we can understand it is mandatory, it is automatically generated, it is mandatory with our SAP system. All parallel ledgers, non-leading or extension. Now we understand the concept of the non-leading or extension ledger. Derive data from the leading ledger. Leading ledger is, so whatever the data, it is derived with our leading ledger. Leading ledger is automatically updated with all posting like FI, MM, SD and CO. So whatever we are doing the transaction, all transaction will be related to our leading ledger. Example, suppose a company in India follows Ind AS as the main accounting principle. For example, the company is related to your Indian company. So that is the reason the main accounting principle will be related to your base company. Okay, which will be your main accounting principle. All primary posting like vendor invoices, customer payment or asset acquisitions will first post into 0L. Okay, so we can understand whatever transactions we are doing, which is related to your vendor invoice, customer payment, or we are doing the asset acquisition, it is automatically posted in your 0L leading ledger. This data will be used for consolidated reporting. So we can understand it is used for our consolidating reporting purpose. Now we go with non-leading ledger. So we can understand leading ledger, non-leading ledger, and as well as we can understand extension ledger. Now we go with the non-leading ledger. So non-leading ledger definition is: non-leading ledger are parallel ledgers created in action to the leading ledger. It is a sorry action. I addition. Sorry, addition to the leading ledger. Non-leading ledgers are parallel ledgers. So we can understand by the non-leading ledger, it's the parallel ledger, which is the addition to the leading ledger. Okay, leading ledger is a main ledger. Now we can create another ledger which will be your non-leading ledger, which can be your parallel ledger with your leading ledger. Okay, they allow business to follow different accounting principles in the same system. So it will allow you to do the transaction with your different accounting principle if it is required in your system, in your business. For example, the business is related to your India and another one is related to your Singapore or any other country. So for that, whatever their accounting principles are there, according to that you need to create a non-leading ledger. For that purpose, you can create one non-leading ledger to do the transaction. Okay, purpose, what is the purpose? To apply with local statutory requirements with they differ from the global accounting principle. So I told you 0L is our global leading ledger. So with the global leading ledger, it will be, we have a main accounting principle which we call global accounting principle with our leading ledger. But for the purpose of local statutory requirement, we will create another ledger which we call it non-leading ledger. Okay, now we go with the configuration steps. How we can configure: go to the SPRO, financial accounting new. There is no concept of the new here in SAP S/4HANA. Okay, oh sorry. Okay. Financial accounting global setting, ledger, then ledger, define ledger for general ledger accounting. Create a new ledger and one which we create a new ledger which is your non-leading ledger, and assign an accounting principle which is example US GAAP, or we can create we have a organization in Germany. For that purpose, we require the local statutory requirements. According to that, we can create it. Okay, assign the non-leading ledger to the relevant company code. We are assigning that non-leading ledger to our company code. Example, a German company must report in IFRS for consolidation and HGB, local German GAAP. Okay, for that purpose, we created IFRS recorded in 0L leading ledger and HGB, which we created another accounting principle which we record in annual non-leading ledger. Posting behavior: when you post a transaction, you can choose whether it should impact only the leading ledger or both ledgers. Okay, example, in FB50 you can select the ledger group while posting. Okay, for that posting purpose we can do it. Extension ledger, now we can understand by the extension ledger. So separately we can do the posting in our non-leading ledger also. Okay, for the local statutory requirement purpose. And now we go with the definition. The extension ledger is a special type of ledger introduced in SAP S4HANA. So, which I told you before that, in SAP S4HANA extension ledger is introduced in it. So, what is the purpose of it? It does not store all data independently. So, we cannot store any data in that extension ledger. Instead, it inherits data from a base ledger, usually the leading ledger. So the base ledger is, it will be the which we call underlying ledger. It is the underlying ledger of our leading ledger. So it is the replica of our leading ledger, but it is not stored any data in our table. Okay. So purpose used for management reporting adjustment and simulation. So sometimes we are using for that management reporting purpose adjustment entries and the simulations. Very useful for IFRS 16 lease accounting, predictive postings or tax adjustment. Some kinds of adjustment entries we can do in our extension ledger, which will not be the part of our table level transactions. Okay. Key features: no duplicate data store. Okay, I already told you that it will not update it in our table level AC docket. So no duplicate data store, saves memory. You only store delta posting adjustments, always linked to a base ledger like 0L. Configuration steps, now we can understand that will be the same configuration steps. We can create a extension ledger where we can able to create our non-leading ledger. Okay, create an extension ledger E1 and assign a base ledger. So I am giving you the example, the overview about these things. Okay, assign accounting principle if needed, if it is required, but there is no need for that also. A company reports in IFRS but wants to simulate forecast adjustment without impacting the main ledger. It will not impact our main ledger, but we can do the adjustment entry in our extension ledger. So leading ledger 0L IFRS actuals, extension ledger E1 forecast postings plus adjustments. Reports can be run separately or combined. So comparison, we can do the comparison, we can understand by the comparison of all the three ledgers. Features: leading ledger, non-leading ledger and extension. Mandatory, what will be the mandatory thing? Leading ledger. Okay, so non-leading ledger is not mandatory, extension ledger is not mandatory. Even I had seen so many companies, they only go with our leading ledger, not go with the non-leading or extension ledger till now or date. And stores full data. Yes, it will store full data by our leading ledger and the non-leading ledger, but extension ledger only is a delta. Okay, so features which we are going with the accounting principle. Main principle, parallel principle in the non-leading ledger and the extension ledger is the same as base. Memory usage high in the leading ledger and the non-leading ledger, but there is no memory usage in extension ledger. If it is used, it will be very low. Typical use: consolidated reports with the leading ledger and non-leading ledger we are using for the local GAAP reports. Leading ledger we are using for the global reports and non-leading ledger we are using for the local GAAP reports, and extension ledger we are using for the forecast adjustments with our global reports. So it's an underlying ledger. Underlying ledger, it will always be our leading ledger. Okay, so in the real time scenarios we can understand with the let's take an example of multinational company operated in Germany and the USA. Leading ledger, non-leading ledger, and extension ledger. Leading ledger IFRS reporting for global consolidation, which I already told you. Non-leading ledger N1 if we create, which is HGB for the Germany we are created, US GAAP for USA. So that kind of situation, if it is if we got, so we can create a two non-leading ledger or one non-leading ledger for the local reporting purpose. Extension ledger E1 for the used for management reporting and predictive forecast. This way, the company can generate three different financial statements without duplicate postings. Okay, so that is the overview about the ledgers with the leading ledger, non-leading ledger, and the extension ledger. That is all the theoretical. Okay, if we go with our PPT, so we can understand maybe more with it. So what is a ledger? A ledger is a book of accounts where transactions are recorded. Multiple ledgers help meet different reporting requirements. In SAP S4HANA, all ledgers are stored in a single universal journal table AC.K. So in the non-leading ledger, it's a parallel ledger created in addition to leading ledger, used for local statutory reporting, created via SPRO defined ledgers, assigned with specific accounting principles, which I had given you examples. So I am doing that revision of what I had explained you. So extension ledger introduced in S4HANA inherits data from base ledger. It will be the underlying ledger of 0L. Our leading ledger stores only delta posting adjustment, saves memory compared to full ledgers used for forecast simulations adjustments, example forecast reporting without changing actuals. So that is the comparison which we already had done. Real-time scenarios which I had explained you with the global company with operations in Germany and USA, and 0L IFRS for consolidation, HGB for Germany, US GAAP for USA, EI forecast and management reporting multiple. So one more question is there, that can we use extension ledger in the place of non-leading ledger? So no, non-leading ledger we are using for that taxation purpose, for that local gap. Okay, so we can't replace our non-leading ledger with the extension ledger. It's not a good point to do it. So every time we have to create a extension ledger separately if it is required. So non-leading ledger if it is required, so we will create a non-leading ledger separately for that local gap usage. But we can't create our extension ledger in the place of non-leading ledger, because extension ledger is a underlying ledger of 0L. Okay, got it. Multiple financial statements without duplicate postings. So summary or outro, you can understand that leading ledger, what is the leading ledger? It's a primary, it's a mandatory ledger. Non-leading ledger, parallel reporting, extension ledger, forecast adjustments. So that is all about today. So try to like, share and subscribe for more SAP finance content. Thank you everyone for it, for watching my video. Bye.